Welcome to the second installment of Mind Over Matter. Today's episode is going to be a little different. I'll be breaking down a few important tournament games I've played in, walking you through my thought process as they unfold. We're starting with the grand finals of a significant local cup I attended, up against a fellow Perth battler, Lalu Loha. He's a highly skilled player, and I knew this match was not going to be easy. As the game begins, I'm hit with the single worst lead imaginable. My Azumarill is staring down his superior. Without hesitation, I swap into Drapion, hoping to gain some early energy and threaten whatever he brings in. He responds with Annihilate. I go for Crunch, hoping for a debuff, but luck isn't on my side. I follow up with an Aqua Tail, but it forces a CMP tie. From his team sheet, I can see that he's running Rage Fist in close combat. My thinking here is that if I can successfully shield a close combat, I might be able to Poison Sting him down after the debuff. I make the right call, shielding the nuke. And because of the CMP tie, I earn a shield back from him. I know I'll reach my next charge move first, so I throw Aqua Tail immediately, which forces his second shield. Now, I'm faced with a split-second decision. I realize I won't be able to Poison Sting him down before he KOs me with counter, so I stop tapping altogether, letting him take me out and giving him a full farm down. This may seem counterintuitive, but it lets me come back in with the Azumarill, farm him down, and store energy for either the superior or whatever's in the back. He throws one counter, then another close combat. It's a smart move because it denies me more farm, but Azumarill can handle the damage. With Annihilate taken down, I immediately swap into Ariados, only to be met with another tough matchup, his Dunsparce. Because it was a swap in, I'm able to throw a lunge straight away to prevent any sneak-ins and lower his attack before he gets to a charge move. This debuff is important, but I still have to shield the first Rock Slide because it's the one that deals the most damage. I count carefully and go one over the lunge to throw on the correct turn. Now with shields down, I'm forced to tank the next move. The two debuffs keep me alive, but just barely. I know I still have to throw again, but I also need to overfarm slightly to make sure that I exit with some energy for superior. I decide to throw Trailblaze. It's good enough to knock out the Dunsparce and gives me a one-stage attack boost. Now it's down to timing. I need my overfarm to be perfect so I can CMP Superior's Aerial Ace. My health is dangerously low, but I barely hang on long enough to get off the game-winning lunge, securing the victory. Even if he had reached a Frenzy Plant here, the lunge debuff would allow Azumarill to survive, and with the energy I banked earlier from Annihilate, I could reach the Ice Beam, but Lalu Loha recognizes the situation and stops tapping. That win secured the cup for me that night, and it remains as one of my favourite victories to this day. Precision plays, calculated risks, and staying calm under pressure turn what looks like a complete RPS loss into a brilliant comeback. It just goes to show, if you don't panic, identify your win conditions and execute on them, no matter how small they seem, you can turn even the toughest situations into a win. For our next match, we're heading back to the 2025 Perth Regional Championship, showcasing two decisive games against Jamathi. These battles were high stakes. Whoever lost would be eliminated from the tournament. As the first match kicks off, we find ourselves in an Azumarill mirror. Personally, I never like to throw the first play rough. It keeps my opponent from learning if they win CMP, and that kind of information can be crucial. While I'm stuck in this matchup, I'm looking at his team sheet and trying to think about what he could have in the backline. After he throws his play rough, he tries to catch on his Alolan Sandslash. But I wait patiently and counter-swap into my Dunsparce. Jamathi builds up some energy before throwing an Ice Punch, which I let go. As you can see from my team of 6, Alolan Sandslash has neutral matchups across the board, which is why Jamathi is able to pivot safely. I fire off a Drill Run and earn his first shield. If I'm able to burn both of his shields in this matchup, it gives me more confidence that Drapion could potentially sweep in the endgame. Then I pause to consider whether I should shield the next charge move. I decide not to, and now I'm playing for either his final shield or switch advantage. I go for another drill run and I manage to grab that second shield. I'm carefully watching my HP bar, but unfortunately he KOs my Dunsparce just before I reach the third drill run. This allows him to retain a lot of stored energy. I bring back in Azumarill, which already had excess energy from the opening mirror. I immediately throw a Play Rough, pushing his Sandslash into the yellow. He swaps back into his own Azumarill, but I don't fall for the classic he swaps I swap trap, so I stay in, chipping it down and burning some of his energy before pulling the trigger on my Drapion, now sitting with a 2-shield advantage. I throw a Play Rough, then patiently wait for him to commit some energy, since I want to hold off shielding Drapion until it's absolutely necessary. This gives me the best chance to close out the game. I land one more Play Rough and then make my move, swapping it to Drapion. He fires off an Ice Beam, which I shield, then comes one of the smartest plays of the game. Instead of tapping a fast move right away, I pause, glance at the top right corner of the screen, and predict a combo play, a swap back into the Alolan Sandslash. I make the right call. As soon as he swaps, I instantly fire off an Aqua Tail, negating all his stored energy and taking down the Alolan Sandslash in one clean move. Now we see him pause, considering his endgame options, but things are looking rough for him. He's facing my Drapion with his Superior, and I still have a shield. I throw a Crunch, which takes him into the yellow, and then I have to decide whether I want to shield his next move. He overfarmed before going for an Aerial Ace, and I opt not to shield it. My patience pays off again. I wait a turn, predicting he'll try to catch on Azumarill. When he does, I capitalize, farming it all the way down, giving me the energy to throw a Crunch into Superior to take game 1. This match showcased an incredible amount of patience and discipline, and it highlighted one of the most overlooked yet crucial skills in Pokemon Go PvP, knowing when not to tap. We're so used to tapping consistently that breaking that habit can feel unnatural, but if you stay calm, read the game, and learn to time your moves with intent, not impulse, waiting can become your strongest weapon. Game 2 kicks off with yet another Azumarill mirror match. We both begin by overfarming, and at this point I'm wondering if Jumothy has brought the same backline. Despite what I said in the last clip about not throwing on CMP, I decide to throw here to avoid going over 100 energy. As it turns out, my Azumarill has the lower attack stat, which means I lose the CMP tie. I'm thinking that if it's the same backline, I want to adjust my play to throw him off guard. Following the CMP tie, we both continue farming. I'm hoping he commits to the next play off early, giving me an opening to make my next move, which he does. Instead of going for the CMP again, I hold onto my energy and pivot aggressively into Shadow Drapion. While Jumothy farms up and considers his options, I'm gaining a valuable energy lead that will be very useful for when he eventually swaps out. I decide to shield his Ice Beam, and Jumothy encounters a technical issue. He then swaps into a Alolan Sandslash, but by that point I've already built up a significant energy lead, putting me firmly in control of the matchup, even though I'm down a shield. He shields my first Crunch, and I farm up a bit more before going for a CMP tie on his drill run. He decides to let the second Crunch through, putting him into the yellow. Knowing Drapion still has plenty of play, I commit my second shield, and then attempt to go for a catch on his next drill run. Unfortunately for me, Jumothy shows excellent patience and doesn't fall for the catch attempt. Instead, he continues to farm before finally throwing the drill run onto my Azumarill. I barely survive the hit and fire back with a Play Rough, which he lets go. It leaves Sandslash with a small sliver of HP which he could save for a potential future catch. Now I monitor my HP carefully as he swaps back into Azumarill. While it may look like he caught the move, this was actually my only play as I wouldn't have been able to survive one more bubble to reach a play rough, so I'm forced to throw an Ice Beam. I then bring in my final Pokemon, Dunsparce, and begin farming. I take damage where I can, trying to build up energy for whatever's left in the back. I'm predicting that his final Pokemon is superior again, so I commit to an extremely aggressive farm down, going well past 100 energy, to ensure that I leave the matchup with enough chip damage to help in the endgame. Jamathi barely makes it to another Ice Beam, and I thought that the rollout that I threw just before the Ice Beam had taken down the Azu, so I accidentally stopped tapping. Thankfully it wasn't too big of a mistake. Jamathi pauses to consider his endgame options, as he still needs to keep in mind that I have some energy on my Drapion. Sure enough, my prediction was correct, as his final Pokemon was indeed superior. Thinking quickly, I throw back-to-back Rock Slides for some chip damage, and then make an extremely risky decision. I swap back into Drapion and then bait with an Aqua Tail instead of throwing the Crunch. Why? Because if I bait successfully, I can build up just enough energy to get to another Crunch before he reaches the Aerial Ace. And it works. I barely make it to the Crunch, and from there I Poison Sting down the Alolan Sandslash, sealing the win and advancing to the next round of the tournament. That final play, swapping into Drapion and throwing the bait, was the deciding moment. If Jamathi had called it, I would have lost on the spot. Pokemon Go PvP is full of mind games, especially when you're facing another skilled battler. In my head, I thought, when people snipe like that, they usually go for the heavy hitting move, not the bait, so I flipped the expectation. The decision was bold, but it paid off. I was really glad that these matches were streamed, as they showcased a lot of high level thinking and finding win conditions that others might overlook. I hope that you were able to pick up something valuable from these games. Maybe it changes how you approach your own battles when the odds feel stacked against you. Sometimes, even if your chance of winning is just 1%, that's still better than giving up. Like in chess, you've always got to look for the next best move, even if the outcome is uncertain, and sometimes, taking that risk is what you need to win games. Thank you for watching, and I truly appreciate your patience. Life has been incredibly busy lately, and that's why it's taken me so long to get this second episode out. But I'm still committed to this series, and I'll do my best to make each and every episode better than the last. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.